at some point in time, depending on how long you guys have been with us. If you've been with us quite some time, then you have been here before this system. Every volunteer has a profile with us in this database, which is part of the application process. But it also allows us to log training deployments, like actual deployments out into the field, so service hours. It also allows you to keep your profile up to date, so like contact information or certificates that you have, or changing your emergency contact, or those kinds of things. If you are aware of your username and password, congratulations. I know that sometimes that can be a little bit tricky, but hold on to that and see, keep that somewhere safe. If for some reason you don't know it, you can always click the forgot username password button down at the bottom, and that will give you a couple different options to choose from to get those items reset. All right, so we're going to go ahead and dive in to the dashboard. All right, this is your dashboard when you log in. There's a couple different things here that's on for you to scroll through. I'm going to kind of go over those items first, and then we'll go over what your account looks like and the items and things that you can change within your account. This top banner right here says notifications. That's where you can see different notifications that we have concerning some issues with your data or email address, or there's a wide range of things. Sometimes it could be yellow, sometimes it'll be red, depending on what the notification is. This one is that my email address is not receiving any emails. So it's triggered it that there's an issue here. I'll kind of show you what that looks like on your profile. I know why mine is because mine is a fake email address, just because this is a demo. But if for anything for you, you have an option to select this button here where it says please follow these steps here to troubleshoot. And there's a troubleshooting page for alerting. So the first section talks about email alerts, general tips. If you have a specific provider, you may have specific steps that you'll have to do based on that provider. It has nothing to do with us. And then also down here, we have texting alert features as well. It gives you some of the short codes. Maybe if you're on vacation and you want to kind of stop the text messages, you can. Then you can also text to the same number, resume. The short code for our texting is 85364. You can always save that in your phone as VVHS or MRC or whatever you would like it to say, just so that you know what it is. And that's what all your text messages will come from for your alerts. On the left-hand side, we have the activity box. Underneath there, it talks about how many deployments and service hours you've provided for your entire career with the VMRC. You can click the button below there that says View My Deployments. That'll give you a quick printout of all of your deployments. And then also there's trainings, gives me 2 hours of training, and that I've completed 2 trainings themselves. And then again, another button for a printout of those trainings. That is just a shortcut that takes you to the page within your profile. So I will show you the other way to get there, and I'll show you what that page looks like in just a minute. Also here we have award section. A lot of you guys have a lot of awards. You've been with us for a while. Some of you may be striving for your first bronze. So we have the service pins for the number of hours completed, and this bronze pin was for the first 100 hours completed. Any objectives down at the bottom, you can see what the next level is. So to get over 500 hours would be for the silver pin. And as we build and work on the system, there may be other objectives that kind of come through here, and you'll be able to work towards. The middle section is the recent alerts. That shows me all of the alerts that I have received. So it doesn't show you what other units have, but just the alerts themselves that you have received. The icons on the left show just different ways. So it's just a communication, and then there's other items where we're asking you to be available and active. Within these, you can see also there's an option where I've already clicked on them, but it says pending, meaning that I haven't done anything with it. I've been notified of an opportunity, and now I get to respond. Before you couldn't use VVHS to respond to your alerts, and now you can. You can come in here and respond to your alerts. You also can respond to your alerts from your cell phone, which that is new as well, and amazing. And you can also respond using the link in your email. When you go to open the alert, it says, the top hyperlink at the top. It gives you all the information down below. And, as this, as you know, these is normally filled out a little more extensively. This is just for the demo of today. And at the very bottom, you can say, it says that you're unconfirmed because you haven't given any response as to whether you're available or unavailable. Clicking that link will take you to the page where you can confirm your availability. Scrolling down, I see that there are 3 different types of roles that they were being asked for. They are all on the same date, and they are all at the same time. So I can choose them all, saying that I'm available for all of them. But of course, I need to make sure that I meet all of those requirements. I am not medical. I do not have any vaccinator training. So I would say that I cannot be a vaccinator because I'm not qualified. So let's just say I'm a traffic control person. And then you're just going to click down at the bottom, I'm available with the selected, and then click again to return to your dashboard. Now you can see that I marked myself available for that event. And of course, there is still a assignment selection with the coordinator and putting roles, and then you'll be communicated to if you are placed in that role for that event. You will receive further communications, but at least for now, you have shown them that you are available. If anything were to change and you needed to change this availability, you go back into the same link, scroll down to the bottom, change your availability, and you can just click, I'm not available for any of these, and it'll automatically mark you not available for all of them. Go back to our dashboard. And now you can see that I'm marked unavailable for them. If an alert closes out, you will see that the response period has ended and you will no longer be able to send in your availability. On the right-hand side, right now we have the National Medical Reserve Corps Facebook page up. I know that not everybody has social media, but we do share some great things. We're aiming towards our units as well to have theirs highlighted on here, but right now we just have the national site. So you can scroll and see the different things that they've talked about or shared from the national level. All right, as we're scrolling down, this new section is a calendar events section. So the calendar event is allows you to flip between different months, different days. If you want to see it, if you have multiple things in a day, you can kind of look at that as well. Right now, this is set up to be based off of events themselves and not alerts that you've received and not assignments. Pretty soon, we hope that it can get to that point, but right now it is just showing you events on the calendar. So you can see on the right-hand side, any upcoming events that have been shared by your unit coordinator. You are more than welcome to mark it as I want to follow this event so that you can pin it to your calendar basically. And since that is in September, you'll see it that it popped up on September 14th. Not all information is shared immediately regarding events, but it will eventually load in there what the coordinators are wanting you guys to see. You can always unfollow events as well if you want to take it off your calendar. That's an option. Scrolling down further, you see my district and the name of the district that you're in. Right now I have this demo profile in the Peninsula MRC program, and you can see a note from the coordinator, and her contact information for her email address and her phone number is all right there as well, and a quick picture. So if you're new, you can at least know what your coordinator looks like whenever you show up to an event, and you can find them. On the right-hand side, there is a pinned event section. Your coordinator may put certain things here. They want you to like pay attention to some certain events that are coming up and may pin them there for your awareness as well for that. We have a request unit transfer button. This is new. It is placed here, and it is also placed on your My Account profile. And I'll show you that in a second. If you click this button, it'll just take you to that other page. So I'll show you that. And lastly, some fun stuff down at the bottom is we have some photos. As your coordinator fills out the events and takes photos from the events, they throw some of the events, some of the photos in those events, and then it goes into this slideshow down at the bottom. So we know that you guys can't attend every single event that your MRC unit does, but we'd like you to kind of see the smiling faces and the things that they've been able to accomplish to help cheer them on during that. There is a help section down at the bottom, a couple different pages. We have the frequently asked questions button, takes you to, again, some frequently asked questions. This is also on the main page before you log in, so it's the same link. Let's just say for some reason you're having trouble with your email and you changed your email address and you want to test it. You would click that button and you would get an automated email from the system that is just to test it. Of course, be patient. You know, it has to travel through the universe to get to us. So we never know when it'll land, but it shouldn't be long. And from there, you can take that email and move it to your inbox or say not spam. So if you mark it so that it will never land in your junk or spam folder, there's a couple different ways to do that. Back down at the help section, not receiving alerts. This is that same alerting help section that I just previously showed you, but that's the button that will always be there. The notification that I showed you at the top may not be there for some people. As I mentioned, I'm not sure if you guys had heard me before, but you can request your username for Train. So the training system that we use is a separate system from VVHS. You may have a different username, and you probably more than likely will also have a different password. But there's a button down at the bottom that you can click for it to pull up what is your Train username and then where you can log in at. If you need to reset your password, you would have to go through their website because we don't have anything to do with that on our side. There's also an additional button that talks about adding your FEMA ID number. If you need to add that, again, that's on the Train side, but this is a short little walkthrough with pictures of where you would go to add that number to complete your profile as well. And last but not least, at the very bottom, if you have any issues regarding your VVHS account, you're more than welcome to reach out to your coordinator, or you can email the VAMRC@vdh.virginia.gov. And myself and Kate, mostly Kate now, but we manage that email address, and so we can get back to you directly regarding any issues with your account. Now we're going to run into my account. The information in this account is going to be the information that you provided during your application. So everything up to the additional info is everything that you provided. Once you log on to your My Account section, there's an overview, which is the beginning. It's a summary, quick summary of certain things that help us on our side, but you can also see some details on yours. Here's that email address that I was talking about, me@u.org. That's what I use just for our fake email, but you can also see, I don't know if you can see it, when I hover over that little X, it gives me that same failed message that is in the notifications on my main profile. If you have a transfer status, that'll also show here. If for some reason you've had to move and transferred units, that'll also show in your history now. It only began recently, so if you had transferred years and years ago, that's not going to show. And then your date of birth for Oreo is red because it's a minor age. If you are over 18, it will turn green. So if any reason you yourself are over 18 and it's red, it's because the date is off. So if you ever catch that, let us know. We can change it, but you can also change it. Down below is also the section for the transfer request section. As I showed you on the dashboard, there was a button. You can also click the button here. If any reason you need to request a transfer, it'll notify your coordinator and it goes through an approval process. So they may reach back out to you before we complete the transfer. There is on the left-hand side a kind of quick summary of how many deployments you've been a part of, how many total alerts you've received, how many times you've marked yourself available, how many times you've marked yourself unavailable, and your response rate. So response rate is not so much an important number, but it's a fun number that you could play with to keep, see how high you can get it. And we always say any answer is an acceptable answer. So even if you get an alert and you just say you're unavailable, your response rate will continue to creep up. The first tab is your contact information. So your name, if you ever have a name change, you get married, divorced, whatever the situation may be, you can always come in here and change your name. Your birth date, of course, if it's not correct, you can fix that right there. You will not be able to change your service area, but that is what it lists for you here. We love having profile pictures. Of course, we like it shoulders up, clear. I like to see your face. Just it helps the coordinators really connect and know, you know, who you are and be able to find you at those events and encourage that connection. Down below, we have addresses. There is two different types of addresses, a mailing address and a home address. So if you, let's say, have a P.O. box, you could put the P.O. box and the mailing address and then your physical address here. You could also, if you're a college student and, you know, you live in Richmond, but you're attending college in Charlottesville, you can put your mailing address for Charlottesville and then your home address there. Your personal contact phone number can be here. You can have a primary, secondary. And also your alerting choices is here. So you want to be alerted by phone, by voice, by, let's see, which primary number do you want used if they call you? Do you want both? So you'll get text messages and phone calls, and emails. You can always change that there. And then lastly, you have your emergency contact information. This is important information. If anything were to go awry at a deployment, we would use this information to get in touch with your preferred emergency contact. So you also have the option to edit that as well at any point in time. Now, the credentials page could be different for every single volunteer, but there's a wide range of things on this page. We do have employer reference. So if you do have a job position, there's some details that you can go through answering, do you have a licensed healthcare professional? Do you work as a as a licensed healthcare professional in a hospital? Just say yes or no. And within this, there's also, unemployed. So there's a wide range of options here. Education, if you're a student, are you currently a student? It doesn't really mean education is like previous education, it's just current. And then you have identification verification. So this is a section where you can upload a copy of your ID. During COVID, when we were doing background investigations online, because of the situation, we needed IDs to be uploaded. You are not required to put them there, so don't feel like you have to go back and do that, but that is an option to have them there. And then further down, we have our license and certifications. If you open it, it gives you two different boxes you can put in for your different licenses. Healthcare license, you have certifications, you can do your CPR certifications. You put your information of who issued it. You can add a copy or a picture of it, and then the date that it expires. And that's something that you can always go back and change and update yourself as you get new licenses or expiration dates change. You can always come in here and do that yourself. Just some smaller items at the bottom. Uniform information is like what size t-shirt. When we were giving out t-shirts in the beginning, that is part of the new application. So you may not, if you don't have it here, it's just because it wasn't there when you filled out your application. And one big thing that some people may not be aware of is our languages section. In the languages section, you can choose primary, secondary, and you can add additional languages other than secondary. You can also choose different options as do you read, speak, do you read, write, do you read, write, speak, do you speak, do you write? So any of those items, you can say, I read Spanish very well, and you can put that in here and say that you read that and add whatever else. Sometimes we ask for interpreters. Again, at the bottom, it says, I'm willing to be a medical interpreter for this language. Sometimes it's content that we're trying to interpret. We're needing to write it, make sure that we're using the proper grammatical usage for the printed content. We run reports off of this section. So if you have anything additional, please don't hesitate to add that in there because we'd love your services for those items. All right, scrolling back up to the top, we have our health section. In our health section, this was during COVID. At some point in time, we had to have full vaccination or a negative test result for volunteers to be able to go into the health departments and some events. So this was added due to COVID. It is not required at this time, but it is available. And if any point in time something else occurs, God forbid, of what we went through previously, we do have this here so that we can communicate that readiness as well. Within the additional info, there's an acknowledgement section that you would have completed upon the end of your application. You virtually have signed the HIPAA and liability sections. At the top of this, the first checkbox, there's a link that says HIPAA and MRC volunteer liability. You can click on that. I don't know if it'll take me there for you to see it. Yep, and gives you the full disclosure of everything that applies to. And you can always pull that down at any point in time and read through that.
Hey, Laura. I'm just gonna,
Yes.
just since you're right there, the languages, ASL is in there, right? American Sign Language
For the,
languages. Yep.
yes.
Thank
Yep.
you.
You're welcome. And then the last section, just ask some simple questions that you verified. I think there's a section that says, are you willing to volunteer in an event of a public health emergency disaster? You would say yes or no, and that's the same of what happened with COVID. So, or any of the other things. Because some of these questions are a little bit on the older side, but still having them filled out properly would be helpful if we ever need to run a report. Would you be willing to volunteer statewide? Would you be willing to volunteer nationally? All those items help us narrow down when we're sending out for deployments. All right, so on the first page, there was on our dashboard, there was a section that talked about trainings and the number of trainings that we completed and the number of hours. Within your account, there is a more detailed page. And if you click that training button on your dashboard, it'll take you to this page. So within here, it shows you, here's your login information for train. If I had a FEMA ID number, it would pop up here. This button, the top link right here, will take you directly to the train login page. So if you don't remember it, you can always start in VVHS and then click the button and then go here and then log in. Send a request to change your MRC unit. So if you have changed units since then, I would need to click the button and it'll send, I believe, an email, but I'll double check that for changing your unit within train. And then a couple of other different options down here as well. This competency section is a new section that we've recently added. As we're working through trainings that are required to be deployable, we made it kind of quick and easy for coordinators to see if you've finished all of the training needed, or what items you're missing to be able to get to that point. So you can click and open it up and it shows you the details. So as we know, we now have to complete the cybersecurity HIPAA training. And he completed that on August 1st. And so it immediately marks it as yes, that has been completed. And then any other like details regarding a vaccinator. So if these items have been completed, they would put the completion date in there, and then you'd be considered an MRC vaccinator based off of those requirements under each one. You are always welcome to add additional training certificates to your account. You can add documents like PDFs, or you can add photos like JPEGs or PNGs for any other trainings that you may want to share with us. Training history is shows you all of the trainings that you've completed. So you can see that he completed the volunteer orientation, which is required before you deploy, and then also the HIPAA training, which is required before you deploy. And so he's done a total of 2 hours of training, and he is now technically deployable. The same page for the deployments gives you the detail of every deployment that you were a part of. You can kind of scroll down. As you know, we are all human and we try not to make errors, but sometimes there may be an error in the logging of these things. If you take the time to go back and look at them and verify if that information is correct, that would be super helpful for us, just in case we slipped and put the wrong number. We don't want to short you on hours. There is also an option for a PDF summary of your deployments. It'll give you a quick summary of your information at the top of your contact information, how many deployments you had, how many hours, the breakdown of every single deployment. And then at the very end, it gives us an option to sign it if you do need it from a unit coordinator to use for your job or whatnot. And that same button is also on there for your training summary. So you can do the same type of summary for your trainings. Volunteer awards, as we spoke before on the dashboard, you see what you've been awarded. And then any additional volunteer goals that you would like to start working towards. There are additional buttons on the left-hand side. A lot of them take you to things that you may have clicked somewhere else. You have your alert button, and that takes you to any alerts that you've received. You can go back and search for them off of different filters of when they were sent. The subject that was in the title, if it had a category, you guys can do all of that yourself. Again, deployment report, the same thing. There's a couple different buttons. You could do a preview of the report and just see it here, or you can download the deployment report. Same for the events. You can see which ones are there. And if you want to follow or unfollow an event, you can also do that here with the red button on the side. Training report, same thing. Training list. So all the trainings that have been offered to the Peninsula District or the district that you are within, you just give you some information. As we know, most of these items were either live or they are now found on Train. So if you see something on here and you might be interested in it, you could just reach out to us and we'll let you know if it's something that's available or not. This item is still in development, not really, but we haven't really loaded a lot of content on here. There are additional training videos. Now, these are items that aren't really required for deployment, just fun little videos. Your coordinators can load their own videos here if they want to. This one is our commercial that we did back in 2012, and it just shows you that video, and it is linked to YouTube, so it may take you to the YouTube page. But outside of that, that is pretty much VVHS in a summary. Is there anything that I should go over, Kate, or I can open up the floor for questions?
I think that's a really, really good overview. Does anybody have questions?
Well, no questions to speak of, or you haven't thought of them yet, you are again welcome to email that email address at the very bottom of the screen.
What happens if you're no longer licensed?
Okay, you would just go to your license section. So in my account, it would be your credentials. And within here, that's where you can remove your license. You can do edit. I'll go ahead and put one in just so you can kind of see. Virginia professionals today. No. I don't know why it's not doing it now. But it would show you, it would have this little remove button next to it, and you can remove that off of the list anytime those may no longer apply.
Okay, we got some more questions here. Are there going to be, oh, nope. would we receive notification for renewing picture IDs?
Picture IDs are not required at this time. So if you want to put it in there, you're welcome to. If for any reason we have to use the system again and need those IDs to be up to date, you'll probably receive an alert asking you to update that.
Are there going to be training sessions for vaccinators? So all of the vaccinator training is online. It's all through Train, and they're all separate modules for each of the different vaccination. And you can get that training plan from your local coordinator. Somebody said I requested a badge 2 months ago. Did you ask your local coordinator? Corinne, no, you did. So MRC, VVHS, that's one thing. And then Train is a separate thing. Where do I add the FEMA number? Is one.
You add your FEMA number through Rain. So this is the website you would go to. Just pull it up side by side so you can see that they are completely two different systems. You can see the URLs at the top. Ours is vvhs.vamrc.org. Train is train.org/Virginia. And yes, for the most part, your username and password for both these accounts are different. Mostly the reason why is we took out the confusion of you having to create your own Train account once you applied with Virginia Medical Reserve Corps. So our system overnight, once your application goes into an approved status, creates the account for you, and it gives you a generic login name. And then you create your password for your first login.
What are the learning objectives for this training? I missed that in the late start and getting bumped out.
So the learning objectives of this training is to help familiarize you guys with the system. We've really put in a lot of effort to make it easy to use, to provide a lot of information at your fingertips. Ultimately, this is your profile. This is your information. This is your deployments. These are your training hours, and we are just helping manage those for you. And any information that you can give us in your profile further helps us with assigning deployments, or maybe saying, hey, you're one training away from this certification. Would you like to take this training? And then we can give you this. So those things help us, give you more opportunity to do things.
Angela said, I meant badge renewals. They have an expiration date on them.
So yes, badge renewals, I believe that when COVID happened, we kind of just ignored that. So that would be a unit by unit thing. If they are back to, we're trying to find, a new normal battle rhythm. You can ask them if that's something that you're needing to get because your ID says it's expired.
The site on the left is VVHS. I'm going to drop the VVHS link in the chat right now. The site on the right is Train. That's where you take all of your trainings. So I just dropped the actual VVHS login in the chat. Just vvhs.vamrc.org.
Well, those are some really good questions. Again, if you have anything else that you're not sure of, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you for sticking with us. We did our due diligence and got on early and tested everything, and I have no clue what happened, but we're glad you stuck with us, and are so glad that you're here volunteering with us.
Yes, we are recording this and it will be posted on Train in a couple days. Let's see, one more. What is the purpose of adding the FEMA ID? I think just to have all your training information together.
Yes, I believe because, again, not every system communicates. So there's a FEMA website. So if you have to do a direct FEMA training, you'll find it in Train, but then it takes you to a third website. So it just allows those things to kind of tie together, but it's not required. Just some people want to fill it out because it's there.